Hey guys, we're back. I've sanded this face until I cannot sand anymore. So hopefully it's going to work. I did put a coat of paint over the dark areas because when I spray paint it, it'll be harder to cover it up, and I'll just have to put more and more coats on when I don't really have to put it on the whole face, which complicates everything because the more you spray paint, the more chance of drips and runs. So we're going to try doing a run of the airbrush over this and see how it goes. I'm sure I'll have to do about 3 or 4 coats. And you do want to do light coats because of the possibility of it dripping and running if you get too much paint on it, since the paint is rather thin. I do use this product, not saying it's good or the best, just what I happen to get on Amazon. So I mixed up some flesh tone, sort of pinkish yellow white color to match this, and we're going to put this on and see what happens. Be back shortly. Okay, I've put about 1,200 coats of paint on this doll. Oh my gosh. This was so much harder than I thought it was going to be. It's just hard to cover up that gray, even though I put some paint on it before I started the spray painting. And then after I spray painted it and put about 2 or 3 coats on, I realized that I needed to do a whole lot more sanding. So I had to take all the paint off and sand some more, put the paint back on, realized there were some places that I messed up, took the paint off, sanded some more. So anyway, here we are. I've got these 1,200 coats of paint on it. So we're going to start coloring it with the chalk pastels. We're going to put some color on the cheeks first, and I wasn't sure how this was going to work. I did coat it with some Mr. Super Clear before I started putting some of the colors on, just to try to smooth out the surface, because the surface tends to be a little bit granular with the paint, and I wanted it to look smooth. So I did feel that this helped. I feel like the Mr. Super Clear helps. It also helps, I think, to get the paint to hold. So that part of it is good. And at this point, I'm just hoping this turns out halfway okay, because I don't know, I'm just not happy with the overall project. But in the terms of it showing you how to do this process, it was good. That part was good. So I'm going to just continue putting down color. I've got the cheeks pretty rosied up, and now I'm putting some brown color on the bottom of the lid, because there is a shadow where the lid closes. Now, to get that smoothed out, you can always use a Q-tip like I'm doing here to kind of smooth it out a little bit around the edges. And you know, I think overall it's going to look okay once we get the lashes on. But I think anytime you start putting paint on these dolls like this, it just opens up so many possibilities for things to go wrong. So right now I'm shading around the nose, putting a little bit of a grayish brown color around there to add some shadows. Just everything to try to give this face a little bit more dimension. And I want to put a dark red color in between the lips. And I'm not going to extend that much past the crease, because I want it to be, you know, that the lips are sucked in. So we're just going to put that in the crease itself and on the edge of either side, and that looks pretty good. If you wanted to, you know, sort of use a Q-tip around the edges, you could, but I think it looks pretty good like that. Just get that dark there to show that the lips are pulled in and the redness of the lips is there. So you'll notice I cleaned my brush off by rubbing it on the paper towel, and then when I put on fresh coats of these chalk pastels, I always rub it off on the paper towel first, because I don't want to get too much color down. I can always go back over it. But I'm going to put some color down now as a base for the eyebrows. I will go over this with watercolor pencils to add the strokes of the hairs, but I like to put down that first, just to first of all get them symmetrical and get them the shape I want. I want them to have a look like a baby that's asleep, you know, but having a pleasant dream kind of, you know. So the part of the eyebrow near the nose would be raised, and the part at the corner of the eyes would go down, and that would give it that sort of surprised or relaxed look. And so this part is just, you know, putting color in where you think there's going to be shadows or any sorts of variations of the skin tone, and that can be different, you know, for each doll, obviously, depending on how you want to color it. I am going to use a fair-headed hair on this doll because that's what I have. So I'm not putting too dark of colors. I put a little shading here at the top of the eyelid where it would be somewhat indented. So we just are basically creating shadows, and you can use your Q-tip again to sort of spread that out and make it softer. Now we've got the base down for the eyebrows. I want to put some strokes in to look like hairs. I like real looking eyebrows, and everybody's got a different kind of eyebrow they like and a different kind of eyebrow that they use when they're making dolls, and that's cool. That's why we're artists. We can all have a different way. But I kind of like them to look like real eyebrows, and basically they look like my eyebrows because that's the ones I see every day. So if you want to know what my eyebrows look like, they look like this. So I'm putting down some brown and also some black or darker color just to give it a little bit of contrast and just to make it stand out that these are strokes here and look like sort of individual hairs. And you can put different colors. I mean, I've done it before where I put white in, or, you know, 3 different colors of brown, but this is going to be a light-headed child, so I'm not going to try to make the eyebrows too dark. I did want to put the darker color in, really just for contrast, so that the brown stands out more. The thing you do want to do when you're doing these eyebrows, though, is make sure that your pencil is very sharp so that it makes a really nice fine line. If it's dull, it's going to make a wide thing that doesn't look like a hair. Okay, so let's just keep going. We're going to just keep shadowing and applying some color, defining things a little bit more with pencils. They're a little bit sharper, putting some color in the nostrils. You have to be careful with that. Sometimes I'll break off the pencil inside of it and it's hard to get out, so let's be careful. So I want to darken up the edge here. I'm going to be putting some lashes on, but I want to darken these up a little bit to create more of a shadow and contrast between the cheeks and the eyelids. And I like how she's coming along. Now, for the next part, what we're going to do is just add a little bit more color up over her eyes. And there are other colors in the face that I always try to add, and I do try to add some blue on either side of the nose because there are usually some shadows there that tend to be blue. Our eyelids do have creases, so I'm going to use a watercolor pencil to just draw in some lines to look like, you know, these are creases. You can add more or less depending on how you want the eyelids to look. There's no right or wrong way. I'm using a little bit of a darker color than the shadow, and that just is going to create a little bit more dimension. And I'm also going to add some color to the corners there just to create that look where the tear duct is eventually. So I think she's starting to come along. We're starting to see it look more like a face and less like a blank canvas. So now I'm putting that blue color in. Now, I'll tell you a little secret here. This is where things started going wrong. It's always one of those projects where everything just starts to going downhill, and this was it. I made a mark on the face with the blue. I started trying to get it off with an eraser. I created more of a problem with the eraser. You know, just continue on the journey with me. This is where I start getting frustrated. I start doing stupid things, you know, like using that big brush that was so stiff, and it created another problem. And then with the eraser, I started erasing and then created a hole where I pulled off too much color through the skin. Always use a clean brush when you're brushing off anything like that. And once you make a mark, like it in the area where you have the pastels, and you make a mark by erasing something, you can't go back in and add the chalk. It just doesn't work. See, I'm trying to do that in that little area. It doesn't work. It never works. I don't know if it was here or a little bit later that my sleeve got caught in the coffee cup that holds all my paintbrushes and tools that's to the right of me, and I knocked it off, so about 500 paintbrushes go spilling all over the floor. So I turned the camera off, came back, fixed everything off camera so you didn't see me struggling, and now we're going to put the eyelashes on. What I had to do was actually I had to paint over the eyelids, and I decided to make them a little bit lighter color than the face, and that was just to give them that thin-skinned look that eyelids have, and also they're always hidden from the sun usually, so they're a little bit lighter. So I'm taking these fake eyelashes and cutting them down because I don't want them to be as long as they are. And you know how eyelashes come with a little bit of adhesive to stick them to the container that they're in. That's what I'm going to stick them to the eye with initially here, just because I don't want to glue them down yet, you know, because I've been making so many mistakes on this doll that the eyelashes are just one more opportunity for me to make a mistake. So we're just going to press them against the eye and see how that looks. And then we're going to take the other side and see if we can make it look the same. We'll cut it off. I think the eyelashes, you know, will look okay like this. I was a little concerned that they're black, and I kind of wanted them to be a little bit lighter, given that she's going to have very light hair. But, you know, some people have dark lashes. I have blonde hair myself, and my eyebrows are black. I mean, maybe they're really dark brown, but they're very close to black. So, everybody's different. All right. So, we're going to push these lashes down. And after that, I can go back in and see, I almost started cutting there, and that would have put a mark on the surface of the paint. That's why I did it without glue. So anyway, I can go back in later with a toothpick and put a little bit of Elmer's glue on top of the edge there of the lash where it meets the eyelid, and that'll glue it down. But I want to get it where I want it first. Make sure that it's symmetrical with the other side. And then hopefully everything will be okay. This is really kind of getting near the end, near the last step, so. Okay, next morning, I let this rest overnight because I was getting a little bit, I think, burnt out with working on it. And things start happening to me when I get that way, like I'll knock over things and then it gets just, I don't know, overwhelming. So anyway, I think we're pretty well finished with coloring the face. I did coat it with some Mr. Super Clear a little while ago, and we're ready to put her back together at this point, so I've chosen this little outfit that is so cute with the matching shoes. And here's what we need to do. We need to put the head back on. So we have this part that needs to go over this screw. Let's see if I can get the hair out of the way. Get the hair out of the way. Okay. So kind of angle it because that screws loose, but not completely. Okay. Then I do want to tighten that up. So just use the regular screwdriver. That's good. And now the part where we put the head, we don't have to worry about the strings for the eyes since we're, you know, not using eyes on this doll. And then we just have to get everything lined up underneath and press together. So we're just going to do this off camera because it's taking too long. Okay, we finished our doll, and there she is, sitting with her little teddy bear. I think she looks pretty cute. We'll zoom in a little bit on her face so you can see it. I used this blonde hair that I had on, on hand, this head, so, I could have maybe done something different, but I thought it was pretty cute. So anyway, that's our look at the closed eye process. Whoa, camera, go back. Still getting used to this camera. Hopefully you guys were able to glean some information from this and enjoy it. I enjoyed doing the process and learned a lot from it. I'm actually going to try doing this similar face on a smaller doll next, like maybe an OB11 size doll. I think that'll be a whole challenge doing something that tiny, but it'll be fun, and yeah, you guys might enjoy watching me goof some things up. Anyway, keep on keeping on, guys. Be creative and enjoy life and be safe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, and bye.